Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2015 horror remake Poltergeist, a film that is directed by Jill Keenan and it stars Sam Rockwell, Rosemary DeWitt, Jared Harris and Jane Adams. And it is obviously a remake of the classic 1980s horror Poltergeist. Now, where do you start with a review like this? Well, essentially, I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on the story. And for those of you who've seen Poltergeist, you know the story. A family moves into a new home that is unfortunately built on a burial ground. Strange occurrences start happening in the house that centre around the little girl. And then she is taken. And it is up to the family then to try and figure out a way of getting their daughter back from this other ghostly dimension with the help of some parapsychologists and Jared Harris's character who plays like this spiritual medium. Right, so I mean it's a remake of the original Poltergeist film. Now I've seen all the Poltergeists. I've actually reviewed the original Poltergeist fairly recently on the channel, did a classic film review of it. And it is an excellent film still. It still stands up today, even though some of the effects are a little bit dodgy. Now, I'm not against remakes, generally speaking. Yes, the quality of remakes out there is for all to see. You know, it is very, very patchy at best in regards to the quality. It's not an easy thing to do to remake a film, especially a film that has got a bit of a beloved following or is regarded as a classic by some. So it's always a risk to do it. Now, this film I avoided for quite some time upon release because it got just such terrible reviews by pretty much everybody. So I just avoided it. I thought, well, I won't watch it then. I never really bothered, and I wasn't doing the channel at the time either. So it's one that I just never bothered with. However, I did pick it up and add it to my collection a couple of months ago. And after watching the original Poltergeist again, I wanted to put it in the collection just to watch it, just to, to see what it was like. Is it as bad as the original reviews were making out? Now, in my experience, generally speaking, no, I don't think films are generally as bad as the initial reaction to them, by, those on the internet, the keyboard warriors, whatever, and film critiques. There's plenty of evidence out there to show that both can be wrong. That is serious film critics and the internet in general. And I'm talking about YouTube. I'm talking film review sites. You name it. I'm talking about all of these things. So they're not always right. However, I think they're partly right here with this film. This film isn't great, but I was pleasantly surprised with this film. I am not going to lie. I've always ever been honest on this channel in regards to my reviews. I'm sure there are some out there that would just crap all over this film from a great height because if they think like that's what they should do, because that's what people are expecting. No, I won't do that. I actually found this film quite watchable, if I'm being honest. Is it as good as the original? No, not at all. But they have a decent attempt at it. There are problems with this film in a sense of, and funnily enough, the problems with this film is when it deviates from the original. I thought the initial setup was good. I thought the family dynamics was good. Sam Rockwell is a brilliant, brilliant actor, and he plays this character really, really good. This devoted dad. You believe the family dynamics. I didn't have a problem with it. There might be some out there that would complain about some of the child acting. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was that bad at all. The effects seemed pretty decent to me. I think when this film started to lose my attention a little bit was the last quarter of the film. I thought the first 3 quarters of the film were pretty nicely put together and were quite interesting and held my attention. The last quarter of the film got very messy for me and a bit muddled. About the time they bring Jared Harris in, actually. Now, Jared Harris is actually one of my favourite actors. I think he's a fantastic actor. If you've seen him in things like The Terror, Chernobyl, all these sort of things, there's evidence out there to show that he is an incredible actor. but he just doesn't suit this film, if I'm being honest. He doesn't suit this film at all. His character is supposed to replace, the original, that little woman in the original Poltergeist, that, when she goes, "This house is clean," sort of thing. He just doesn't match that. He's not quirky enough. He's not weird enough. He doesn't really do an awful lot either. I just didn't buy his character, and I thought that was probably a mistake. I think they should have stayed a little bit closer to the mark in regards to casting that particular role. And it all, like I said, all the visual stuff, it gets a bit messy by the end. In the original one, there's like a clearing. It all settles down for a little bit, and then boom, it kicks off again to give you the big finale. Well, it all kind of happens on one night in this one, the finale. Jared Harris goes in, they try and get the girl back. They follow a similar pattern to the original, but they do deviate away from it by giving the boy, her brother, a bit of an arc in the film. He's very timid, he's very cowardly. Not cowardly, that's the wrong word. He's very, very timid child and scared of everything, and they give him this arc in the film. I just didn't buy it. Do you know what I mean? It should have been the mother going in after, or the father going in after, sort of thing, and I didn't buy certain aspects of the ending. And I think this film fails when it deviates from the original, strangely enough. I think if they just stuck a little bit closer to the blueprint of the original, I think it'd have been good. But then they would have been criticised for just making a carbon copy of the first one. So you can't really win, I suppose. But both me and my wife both agreed that there are aspects of this film that were better than the original. And there were certainly aspects that were worse than the original, but it is certainly not the worst remake I have ever seen by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It was actually far more watchable than I expected it to be. So that is my review for the 2015 Poltergeist. If you've been avoiding it because you saw the reviews at the time, you better pick it up pretty cheap now. Give it a watch and judge it for yourself. I don't think you'll be as disappointed as you might expect. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you back with more reviews on the channel very, very soon.